kembali lagi bersama saya di channel Tekon TV, sumber informasi pakar terpercaya. Pada hari ini kita sudah bersama dengan seorang pakar dari dunia properti, yaitu Mr. Andrew dari Harcourts, Bali. Good morning, Mr. Andrew.
Good morning, everyone. Good morning. How are you?
And thank you for your time to have a short interview with Tekon TV, Mr.
You're welcome.
Yes, and I have some question for you. The first is, when did you join Harcourts Purba, and what did interest you at that time?
Okay, so I'm relatively new to Harcourts. I joined Harcourts in well, I think it's been nearly 4 months now. I think the reason I joined Harcourts mainly is because I know the principal in Bali, the two principals. I've known them for a long time, and I've watched them grow their business over the years, and I felt that now was a good time for me to work in the property industry, having gone through the COVID period in Bali, and looking at the high level of people wanting to invest in Bali now. Not only invest, but maybe escape their own life from the city and look at a more relaxed, comfortable lifestyle, such as Bali can offer.
And the next question is, how is the condition of property business now, especially in Bali, especially after the pandemic decrease?
Okay, so we've seen two different growth areas. One of those is from the domestic market. So in particular, the largest cities in Indonesia, Surabaya, Jakarta, Medan, Jogja, to name a few. We've seen a lot of interest coming from this area, both young, so young investors, and also older established families that want to have a family house in Bali for their family and friends to use, but also as an investment later on for their children. The other side that we see, obviously, is the international market from Australia. That this market is always ready to invest and live in Bali. And since the pandemic has eased up and restrictions have been lifted, the Australian market is showing great signs of interest. And I would say that 80% of our international interest is from Australia.
Okay. And then the next question is, in your opinion, what is the best-selling property in Bali? Residential or commercial? Please explain it.
Okay, so I think the most versatile properties to sell in Bali are definitely residential villas. That's where the demand is. They double as a lifestyle choice for people to use and enjoy for friends and family. And they also become an investment where you can rent them out to holiday makers when they visit Bali. So a little bit different to other areas in Indonesia where your rental market is more on a stable long-term rental, whereas we have holiday rentals as an option, which is a big part of it, which is can be per night on Airbnb, Agoda, etc. So that's a huge plus. The commercial side of it, there's been a recent boom in the number of restaurants and cafes that are happening in Bali. But this level is so much smaller than the private villa market.
Okay, and then so I'm curious, do you have any interest to move to other area in Indonesia?
In fact, before the pandemic started, I was in Jakarta. I spent 2 years there. I had a production company in Jakarta there. We were doing commercial videos, marketing, consulting, etc. So yeah, I've lived in other areas, and I do like Jakarta. I think Jakarta has come a long way since the first time I went there 20 years ago. It's become a very livable city. I actually quite like it. I think Yogyakarta is also a great city,
Yes.
especially because of its proximity to the ocean and the beaches.
Great.
My other occupation is a filmmaker, lets me travel around lots of places in Indonesia. So I visited everywhere from Timor all the way through to Sumatra, the north of Sumatra. So I've been through all Indonesia over the years. Yeah,
Okay,
but for this time, I'm very happy in Bali right now.
yes. Okay, and then next question is, according to your opinion, why we should invest in property?
Okay, look, I think maybe the first question is, why should people invest?
Yes.
Not necessarily in property, but why should people invest? And people should invest because, you only have a limited number of hours in a day. And if you're working for your income, there's a limit to what you can earn. If you invest, you can make your money work for you and earn more money, either as cash return or long-term investment appreciations. I think, the old saying we have in the English language is you can't get a safer investment than property. Safe as houses, we say. And the reason being is because generally property market investments just either move slowly over time, progressively forwards and up.
Yes.
Of course, there's dips and ups and downs, but if you look at the long-term trend, it's fairly stable. So, yeah. I mean, that's why investing in property is a good idea. And if you're very savvy about your investment, you can, make a lot of money, good returns if you buy in the right area at the right time.
Agree.
Yeah.
And then the last question is, could you please give us some tips about selling property? Maybe you have some tips to sell property faster, maybe.
What kind of tips?
Maybe how to engage the buyer like that.
Okay, look, I think the number one tip that I can give, and this is more of a life skill than just property. I think it applies to everything in life, and that is communication, and understanding that communication is two-way, not one way. So speaking and being able to present is one thing, but also being able to sit back and listen and understand the needs and wants of a buyer. And I think that's very important because if you don't do that, you're going to end up wasting the time of that buyer, showing properties they're not interested in, talking about things that they're not interested in. So I think it's a really good tip is to learn to listen. And I guess the other tip is, understanding the market, understand your area, understand what the benefits are of selling property in your chosen area, and really do your research on everything that's happening around you at one time. There's many people who buy properties, also investors in other things, stock market, now in the crypto world. So having a good understanding of what's going on in other markets is very important to understanding trends in the property market.
Okay.
That's my tips for today.
Okay, that sounds interesting. And the last, if you have some video about property in Bali, could you please share to us? Or if there is no...
Yeah, I have one prepared for you. It's a short, a very short video with a. I wanted to show this one because it's a very different property, and it's very unique to Bali. It's an expat owner, and I think it's a good one to show because it's very different to all the other properties that you will find in Indonesia. So bear with me, I will share my screen.
Yes.
Where are we?
Yes, I can.
Okay, cool.
I owned this since it was built. So 2013, I think. This was a bit of a forest in here. We cleared it all, or rather the developer cleared it all. So I've been there since inception and loved every minute of it. And you might ask, why am I selling it? And the answer is mental instability, I think, because if you see behind you, there's no reason to be selling it. The truth is, I have a wellness center, Revivo, which consists of 4 other villas, 3 other villas. And this is proving a little bit too far. So I'm expanding down at that end. So I'm an owner. I will remain an owner of 3 units in the development. I'm not going anywhere. So fortunately, the developer and I were very good friends, and I also happen to be a lawyer. So he asked me, could I structure something that's easy because people don't want to deal with all of the rigmarole of land offices and all that's involved when you're living overseas and you're buying a property. So what I constructed is a Hong Kong company, and you simply buy shares in that. That has a wholly owned subsidiary here in Indonesia. So you're buying and selling a share in a company, rather than title deeds, etc. So easy peasy.
Well, okay.
Oh, I'll be the neighbor. Yes. I'll be coming up here, inviting myself to dinner, just so I can be nostalgic and remember. Yeah.
Sorry, that's my little boy jumping on my computer.
It's okay. It's okay. Oh, that's an interesting property, right?
Yeah, it's interesting property
awesome.
And interesting owner as well. So also an interesting structure. So as we know, foreign ownership's not allowed in the country. So so the structure of this villa was set up as a HGB title, and that's owned by a PMA company, and the shares in that PMA company are owned by a Hong Kong company. Oh. So when there is a new owner come in, they're actually just transferring the shares in the Hong Kong company, and there is no sale on the ground here. So it's a nice suitable way for foreigners to own the rights to use a property here in Indonesia.
Okay, that's awesome, Mr. Andrew.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much for inviting me on your show.
Okay, it's a nice talk with you, Mr. Andrew, and thank you very much for your time. I hope we can see in another chance in a better time.
Yes, let me know. I'm around. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Andrew. And I will end this short interview, and I will thank to our viewers. Terima kasih untuk yang telah menonton acara Tekon TV. Jangan lupa subscribe channel Tekon TV, nyalakan lonceng notifikasinya biar nggak ketinggalan acara-acara atau konten terbaru dari Tekon TV. See you semuanya. Thank you, Mr. Andrew.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Setelah menonton video ini, jangan lupa subscribe channel Tekon TV. Share video ini jika kamu mendapatkan manfaat darinya. Terima kasih.